Okay, what's going on? Vincent Rapsardi, BigBlueUnbiased.com. If you guys can give this video a like, if you can give it a comment, any comment, I would really appreciate that. If you can subscribe, set notifications on, so every time I post videos like this, you can get a notification and you can come join in on the conversation. So earlier in the week, I did a podcast, about 13 minutes. It was kind of a short podcast. I don't like to talk for too long because I think people tune out at a certain point. But people said they liked it. They want longer form videos. They just don't want the 4 or 5 minute video that I usually do giving an update. So I'll try and go a little bit longer on this video and make it sort of a podcast. I said I would hold off on the draft for a little bit, but now we're kind of past the meat and potatoes of free agency. Free agency is kind of over. A lot of the big names are gone. The Giants, they did work in free agency. They added a lot of big names. They got their cornerback 2 in Adoree Jackson. They got Kenny Golladay, their wide receiver 1 for Daniel Jones, and they added some other pieces as well. Kyle Rudolph, Reggie Ragland, Mike Glennon, many others to their roster. It was a fairly productive free agent period for Dave Gettleman in the New York Giants. But now it's time for them to prepare for the draft. Today, or I'm filming this on Thursday night. Today, Joe Judge, Patrick Graham were in attendance for Micah Parsons. Jason Owe had a 4.37 40. Micah Parsons, he had a 4.39 40. Parsons, more of a linebacker, like traditional off-ball kind of linebacker. Certainly can rush the passer and be an edge rusher, but for the most part, that's where that's kind of the best part of his game, is his ability to tackle and to stop the run. Like I said, there's still an opportunity for him to be an edge rusher because he's so gifted, but mainly that's where he's done his work. He's a really good tackler and he's good at stopping the run. And then you have Jason Owe, or Owa. And he's more of a traditional edge rusher. If you look at his snaps, mainly most of his snaps have just come off the edge. So that's what you expect out of him. Two different kind of players, but like I said, Parsons can certainly rush the passer if they needed him to. And Parsons has literally played everywhere, from corner, slot corner, in the box, off ball, defensive line, wherever you need him. He does remind me of Isaiah Simmons from last draft class. Isaiah Simmons was a do-it-all kind of player who could play safety, off-ball linebacker, if you need him at edge rusher, whatever it might be. So that's that. Those are the two guys that Joe Judge, Patrick Graham saw today at Penn State's Pro Day, at their Pro Day at Penn State. But there's one guy that's standing out so far early on while I'm doing some research here, and that's Northwestern offensive tackle RaShawn Slater. Now, he's a smaller guy, arm length and all that kind of stuff, a little bit short, so a lot of people are expecting him to kick inside and play guard, which perfectly fits what the Giants would need in a player right now. And Slater didn't play this past season in 2020 with the whole COVID situation. But he's a guy who a lot of people really like his tape. He's a smart player. He's able to understand different blitzes and stunts and this and that. He's just a cerebral kind of guy, and he offers the Giants flexibility if they did take him 11th overall in the first round. We know the Giants are set at left tackle. They're going to move forward with Andrew Thomas this season. Right tackle is going to be either Matt Peart or Nate Solder, so they wouldn't really need Slater there. But right guard is kind of where they can certainly improve. There's certainly an area for them to improve. Shane Lemieux last year allowed 25 pressures. Pressures are not everything. Sacks are not everything. There are other things to consider. But he's a 5th round pick last season. His leash is short, okay? I don't think they're going into next season saying, without question, Shane Lemieux is the day one starter. I think that they're going to give themselves as many options as possible. A 5th round pick, you don't expect too much out of. If Shane Lemieux does develop into a good starter, then great for the Giants, but I don't think they're going to go into the season expecting Shane Lemieux to be their guy without question. They added Zach Fulton today, former Texans guard, and Fulton, if you look at his numbers, struggled in pass protection last season. I believe he allowed 7 sacks. He had the 4th highest blown blocks, pass blocking blown blocks, according to Sports Info Solutions. Not great in pass protection. When it comes to run blocking, he had the 7th fewest blown blocks. So it seems as though he's more of a run blocking oriented guard in terms of where his skill set lies. He's a better run blocking guard than pass blocking guard. Now, Pro Football Focus has it kind of switched up. His pass blocking grades are actually not that bad. So, take that for what it's worth. Whatever you think is more important, whether it's the Pro Football Focus grade or if it's the Sports Info Solutions statistic, you guys judge, right? I'm going to give you both sides, and it's up to you. So Zach Fulton, I don't expect him to be, without question, the starter either. I think you're going to see some competition in camp with Fulton and Lemieux and maybe potentially a player like RaShawn Slater. So we'll see. We will see what happens at guard for the New York Giants. Left guard, it looks like Will Hernandez. That'll probably be his position. But we've seen that Joe Judge likes to move around the offensive line. He likes to move pieces around. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a continued rotation. And the Giants obviously have many options here, whether that's the first round, second round, third round. I'm sure that they can find a starter somewhere in the early rounds of the draft. And if you look at what they did this free agency, they really set themselves up for, kind of best player available type of situation in the first round. They don't have to take an offensive lineman. And honestly, recently I was I would say maybe a week or two, I think I might have done a video where I talked about how I probably wouldn't draft an offensive lineman in the first round because, after all, Andrew Thomas was their 4th overall pick last year. Will Hernandez, a former 2nd-round pick. Matt Peart, former 3rd-round pick of last season. Nate Solder got paid a lot of money. They traded Olivier Vernon for Kevin Zeitler, who has now been released. But in recent years, they've spent a good amount of draft capital or monetary assets towards the offensive line. So I thought, maybe this offseason and free agency in the draft, they don't spend too much on the offensive line, whether that's a high draft pick or big money. But I'm kind of changing my tone here because I've seen them go out and get a wide receiver 1. They signed Kenny Galladay. They went out and they got Adoree Jackson on a 3-year deal to be their cornerback 2. So they've really filled some legitimate, I would say wide receiver 1 was definitely a need, and then they add a strong cornerback 2 option, which was a smart move. I don't think they had to come away this offseason with a great cornerback 2. It would have been beneficial. That's something I kind of talked about during the year. I'm like, they probably need to find another cornerback. But to get a player of Adoree Jackson's caliber, that's a big add. I did not expect them to get a player like Adoree Jackson and on a 3-year deal. So he's a young player. He's only 25. So now it gives them this opportunity in the first round to really draft whoever they want. If they want to go edge, if they want to go Greg Rousseau kind of route, if they want to go wide receiver, I don't know, maybe a Jalen Waddle. But RaShawn Slater, to me, I'm interested. I'm interested in what he can do and his flexibility playing both tackle positions and then potentially kicking inside. From everything I've heard, his tape is good. He's a smart player. And if he does kick inside, then he'll have legitimate position flexibility at tackles, both tackle positions and guard if you need him, whatever situation might be. And I think that really fits what the Giants are trying to do. So that's where I stand with the Giants' first round pick. Because a lot of people have asked me, what do you think the Giants should do with the 11th overall pick? Obviously, that's a huge question. That would be my pick at the moment, which I didn't think I would say even a week ago. I thought I'd probably go maybe cornerback or edge rusher. Now, things will certainly change. We still have over a month, so things will change in this process. At the moment, right now, I really like this pick. I think he would be a really nice add to the Giants' offensive line and helping protect Daniel Jones. So we'll see what happens. It will be an interesting month plus moving forward.